Hey guys, Kyle Kovats here. Just wanted to make this video for all new prospective real estate licensees, people who are interested in getting into the real estate business and getting their real estate license, becoming a real estate agent. As the owner and director of Kovats Real Estate School, we have hundreds of licensees every single year who get their license through us. I get a lot of common questions that pop up time and time again. Hey, what should I know when I start off in the real estate business? Hey, what are some things that I can do to kind of accelerate my kind of learning curve and things like that? So I wanted to make this video here to tell you what I think are the top 10 things that people should know before getting into the real estate business. Some of the things that I don't think are very clear on the surface. So the first thing here is that I think there's a misconception, number one, that a lot of people think when they first get their real estate license, they just hang their license with a brokerage firm, and that brokerage firm is then just going to feed them clients, going to feed them listings, going to feed them buyers, going to feed them people to work with. And that's really not the case. At most brokerage firms, you're responsible for obtaining your own business, whether this be obtaining buyers, obtaining sellers, obtaining renters, obtaining landlords. Your job is to basically find your own clients. Now, how do you find your own clients? There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So one of the easiest ways when you first get your license to kind of build up a client database, go to all the top agents in your brokerage, ask your broker who are the top agents in this brokerage, and ask them, hey, just want to introduce myself. My name's Kyle Kovats. I'm a new licensee who just joined the office. If you ever need any help with open houses on weekends, I'm more than happy and available to help you out with open houses. By any chance, do you have any open houses available this weekend that you need coverage for? Now, by doing this, what it's going to do is, number one, let them know that, hey, this person's, they're a go-getter, they're serious, they want to host open houses. Hey, this is my go-to guy, my go-to gal, right? Now, when you host these open houses, it also gives you an opportunity to do a couple things. Number one, obviously, deal with people. Get used to dealing with people. Get used to showing houses. Again, you haven't done it yet. So, again, this is a good way to do it. Number two, it gives you an opportunity to market this open house. Now, when I say market this open house, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. One of the easiest ways, I think, is to go door to door in that neighborhood and ring people's doorbells, back up from the door, obviously, and when they answer the door, just ask them a simple question. You don't even have to introduce yourself to start off. Very simple. As soon as they answer the door, hey, by any chance, you know anybody looking to move into this neighborhood? People are oftentimes confused with this question. The homeowner's going to say, well, why do you ask that? Well, the reason I ask is we just listed a house around the corner at 123 Main Street. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. We have it listed for $600,000. We're going to be having an open house on Sunday from 12 to 2. We often find that a lot of times with open houses and with homes for sale in a neighborhood, some neighbors know friends or family who are looking to move into the neighborhood. So in case you hadn't seen the house, I did just want to let you know that it is for sale and that we will be having an open house on Sunday from 12 to 2. By any chance you know anybody who might be interested? Now, odds are they probably don't. Odds are they probably don't. But what this has also done for you, it's gotten you face-to-face interaction with somebody. It's gotten you face-to-face interaction with a homeowner who's going to eventually sell their home. And guess what they've probably never had? They've probably never had somebody approach them like that, ring their doorbell to actively market an open house. And you know what they're thinking now? This person's a hard worker. This person's a go-getter. Hey, Joe. Hey, Jane, do you have a business card on you? I really appreciate the work that you're doing. Now, granted, some people will just be like, we're not interested, bye. But majority of people, when you talk to them in person, they're very nice, very easygoing, and they'll respect your hustle. They'll respect, how hard you're working. So hosting that open house, that's one of the first opportunities. And the other one, too, is when you host this open house, people are going to come to it. A lot of the people who come to open houses don't have agents yet. So one of the easiest questions that I ask people at open house when they first walk in the door, I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kyle. Nice to meet you. By any chance, are you guys meeting your agent here today, or are you guys alone? Well, we don't have an agent yet, all right? This is somebody I'm going to spend some time with, right? Or if they say to me, our agent Joe couldn't make it today. I hope it's okay that we came here. It's absolutely okay, guys. Let me just give you the layout of the house. I'll let you guys walk through it at your own pace. I won't breathe down your neck or anything, and if you guys have any questions, please let me know. The other couple who says, we don't have an agent yet, all right, spend time with them. Give them a personalized tour throughout the house. And while you're doing this, engage in a conversation, build some rapport, and ask them this one question at one point or another. How long have you guys been looking for? You've been looking for a month or two. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and you'll know their names, whatever their names happen to be. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm sure as you've seen, not a whole ton is hitting the market right now, and I've been dealing with the same with the buyers that I'm working with. So what I've had to do is, after sitting down with my clients and figuring out exactly what they're looking for, I started going door to door in neighborhoods and started, making cold calls on houses to see if I could find my clients homes that are off the market that nobody knows are actually available. And what it's resulted in is sometimes I'm able to bring them off market opportunities where, they're the only one who knows that house is for sale. This usually intrigues them, and they'll say, well, how do you do that? I'll say, well, basically what I do is, any buyers that I work with, I'll sit down with them for, a very short 20, 30 minute, what we call buyer consultation, figure out exactly what you're looking for, ask you a series of questions. After we have a really confined, narrowed down criteria for what you're looking for, that'll allow me to really specifically target homes just like that. So if I go door to door in a neighborhood, and you tell me you're looking for a colonial, I'm not going to ring doorbells of ranches. I'm not going to ring doorbells of split-level homes, bi-level homes. I'm going to go after the colonials, and I'm going to see if I can find you a house off the market. Now, that's not to say that if a home comes on the market that fits your criteria, we won't look at that. It's just that it's a better opportunity to expand your search. Does that sound good? Or I always say, is that fair? I say a lot of times. They say, yeah, how? And a lot of times, again, and come with energy, come with enthusiasm, because they'll say, well, how can you do that for us? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyers, you see right now I'm posting an open house, so I can't really sit down with you right now for 20, 30 minutes and go through that consultation. But what are you guys doing after the open house? The open house is over in, let's say a half hour. In a half hour, are you guys going to still be around the area? Because my office is close by, and if your office isn't close by, there's always a Starbucks close by, or a Dunkin' Donuts. There's a Starbucks close by. Maybe we meet there, sit down for 20, 30 minutes, kind of go through that consultation, figure out what you're looking for, and then, I can certainly help you guys. Yeah. Now, when you sit down with them with this consultation, you're going to explain to them that, listen, I'm going to make a commitment to you. I'm going to do everything in my power to find you a home both on and off the market. I'm going to set you up with a team. And when I say a team, I'm going to set you up with, a mortgage broker if you don't have one yet, a real estate attorney if you don't know one yet, a home inspector, and I'm really going to go to bat for you, when it comes to negotiating. But the only thing I ask in return is that if I'm going to put my time and effort into finding you a home, I don't know if you're aware of this, but as realtors, we really only get paid if we sell houses. The only thing I would just ask is that you make a commitment back to me that you're going to work with really me exclusively. And any home that you see that comes on the market that I don't send to you, just send to me, because I can show you any house, list it with my firm, another firm, even if for sale by owner for that matter. So all I would ask is that, you also make that same commitment to me, that you're going to, work with me just as I'm going to work with you. And I always end it with, is that fair? Because nobody ever says, that's not fair. So yeah, that's fair. Okay, so now I just got a client, right? I hosted that open house. I didn't get paid to host the open house. It's not like a realtor says, here's $50, host my open house. So I didn't get paid to host that open house. The whole point of hosting an open house is to try to ideally find at least one buyer. If I find one buyer, and I'm hosting an open house for a $500,000 home, they're probably looking at the $500,000 price point. At a $500,000 sale, our brokerage is going to get paid somewhere between $12,500 to $15,000. Then I'm going to split that with my brokerage based on my commission split. Huge opportunity, right? I just put in 2 hours worth of work at the open house. I found a client from who I'm going to wind up selling a house. Again, these are key opportunities when you first start off. That's one of the good ways to get business. And then also, again, just general prospecting. Your number one job, again, and this is kind of stemming into number two, going into number two, is prospecting. Prospect. What does prospect mean? Prospect means constantly stay in front of people. How are you going to get clients? Are you going to go door to door? Are you going to make cold calls? Are you going to do online advertising? Are you going to reach out to your friends and family? Social media? Are you going to do videos like I'm doing a video right now? How exactly are you going to get clients? Well, find a way and maybe dabble in all of them. For me personally, when I first started off in the business, I started off as a kid fresh out of college, $55,000 in student loan debt, and student loans don't kick in until 6 months post-graduation. So my student loans, I graduated in May. My student loans didn't kick in until November. So I had 6 months until this I think $550 a month. Student loan payments kicked in. Well, I had to, hit the ground running, right? So I didn't really have much money either. Again, I'm fresh out of college. I was, a waiter. I worked in a Christmas tree lot in the wintertime. I did real estate part-time. I did rentals, throughout college. So I had a very limited war chest of funds. So I had to do things that were very cost efficient. So I went door to door. All I needed was a set of legs and a little bit of confidence, right? The other thing that I did is I bought a system called mojosells.com, mojosells.com. Mojosells.com is a power dialer. What it allowed me to do is dial 3 numbers at once. The first person who picked up was who I talked to. The other 3 got pre-recorded messages, if they didn't answer, of, basically a voicemail, essentially. So what this allowed me to do is over the course of an hour, on average, I would say I would dial about 150 numbers, just wearing a headset the whole time. I can literally stand like this. 150 numbers an hour. It has capability to go up to 360, but that's if nobody answers. So about 150 an hour, and I was probably getting between a 15 to 20% contact ratio, which means that for every 100 calls I made, I was getting like 15 answers. So my goal every day was to try to get 100 contacts a day. 100 contacts through either cold calls, going door to door, or both combined. So I was able to do this every single day. I'd make cold calls for at least 4 hours. In those 4 hours, probably do about 600 phone calls. Of those 600 phone calls, I was getting about 15 answers for every 100 call. I was getting around 75 answers. Constantly staying in front of people. Now, when you're making these calls, some people say, leave me alone, never talk to me again. Who cares? Who cares if people are negative? Who cares if people are mean? It doesn't matter. And this is probably just a very corny term, but for every no you get, you're one step closer to a yes. This is a big numbers game. The more people you talk to, ultimately, the more business you're going to do. So don't be afraid of rejection. Embrace rejection, because the more you get rejected, the more you're going to succeed. You have to get rejected in order to succeed. The more you get rejected, the more you succeed. And again, I always like to say, change up your mindset. When I say change up your mindset, what exactly do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you make a cold call to somebody, they're mean, they're nasty, they curse you off, they hang up the phone. I almost want to write a thank you letter to them. Because you know what's great? Somebody cursing me off in 10 seconds. Because they weren't interested in doing business with me. All right, on to the next one. You know what's awful? Somebody being nice to you for 20 minutes with no intention of doing business with you. You might feel good. You might feel nice. That's 20 minutes of wasted time, though. In those 20 minutes, if I'm doing 150 dials, an hour, that's 50 dials. And let's just, for simplicity's sake, say a 20% contact ratio, I could have talked to 10 other people. Of those 10 other people, maybe one would have been somebody who wanted to do business with me. So change up your mindset. Get used to rejection. Embrace rejection, because the more you get rejected, the more you're ultimately going to succeed. So this is, again, kind of getting into number 2 here. Prospect, 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 prospect. Constantly stay in front of people. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Again, probably the simplest, easiest, most effective, most efficient ways, in my opinion, going door to door, making cold calls. I also recognize that some of you probably watching this are saying, I don't want to do cold calls. I don't want to go door to door. Listen, get comfortable being uncomfortable. You don't have to make cold calls. You don't have to go door to door. It's going to take you a lot longer to make money. Going to take you a lot longer to get going. You want to build up a client database. Again, for me personally, I started in real estate full-time in 2013, mid-2013 after I graduated college, so like July 2013. By 2016, I was named to the Real Estate Industry 30 Under 30 by the National Association of Realtors for my 2015 production. So within 2 years, I went from being a brand new licensee, not doing any sales in the suburbs, going to a new market, to being named to the National Association of Realtors 30 Under 30. And that year, I had sold $11 million worth of real estate. The following year, $16 million. So again, how did I do all that? Well over 90% of that was from cold calls and going door to door. So as Greg Schiano says, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's what's going to really kind of take you to the next level. Number 3, know about your taxes. Most people who get into the real estate industry, get into the real estate business, they don't realize that when you get a commission check, there's not taxes taken out. And they don't realize what that means. So if you do a sale and you get paid, a $10,000 commission check, it might be $10,000 and 0 cents. And you're like, wow, that's weird. It's a round, even number. Why is that a round, even number? Why was there no taxes taken out? Well, I guess taxes aren't withheld on commission checks, and they're not. However, it doesn't mean you don't pay taxes on those commission checks. You're an independent contractor. So what you have to do is you have to save up money, and you should be making quarterly estimates. Here's my general rule of thumb. Make sure you put aside at least 1/3 of every single commission check for tax purposes. And keep track of all your expenses, because you want tax deductions. Business expenses, right? Keep track of your business expenses. Keep track of things like your cell phone bill, your miles driven for real estate, your marketing expenses. If you buy a system like that Mojo system we talked about, make sure you're keeping track of these things, because they're all business expenses. And again, we're going to have to pay taxes on the income that we generate from these commission checks. And again, we should be keeping track of our expenses so that we can lower that income, in order to, and again, legally doing it, right? So that's number 3. Know about your taxes. I remember my first year in the real estate business, my 1099 got sent to my mother's house where I was living at the time. Mom said, hey, the 1099 came in. Do you want my accountant to do your taxes? I'm like, yes, please, and have it be done ASAP, because it's the most money I've ever made in a single year. This was when I was in college doing rentals part-time. I was like, I'm going to get a huge tax return, because growing up working, various jobs at, garden centers and everything, and Christmas tree lots, you get a tax return because tax are taken out of your paycheck. So anyway, accountant does it, and he calls me up, and he's like, you owe, and he says like around like, it was like $13,000, I think. So I'm saying to myself, I'm like, wow, $13,000. I was thinking I was going to get a check for like $3,000. 13's even better. So I said, okay, when do I get that money? He's like, no, you owe $13,000. You're not owed, you owe $13,000. I was like, excuse me, did I hear that wrong? And he explained to me, he said, you're an independent contractor. Taxes aren't taken out of your commission checks. So you were supposed to be making quarterly estimates. You didn't do that. Now you have to pay it all in one big bill. I was like, oh boy, that's going to be a problem. So anyway, you don't want to run into that issue. So with that being said, what I would highly recommend doing is every single commission check that you get, put aside at least 1/3 for tax purposes, and keep track of your business expenses, because those are tax deductible. And your accountant, your financial professional who's doing your taxes, they'll be able to tell you what is tax deductible and what is not. Keep track of all of them. Send all the expenses that you think may be tax deductible to your accountant. Number 4, you got to ask for the business. Now, when I say you got to ask for the business, you might be great at making cold calls. You might be great at going door to door. You might be great at getting in the front door, but you can't close a door. It's like you live in a barn. You can't close a door, right? Have a closing line developed. After you go through your whole presentation with somebody on what you're going to do to sell their home, you're not just like, oh, thanks for having me out. No, close. You got to close on them. You're going out there not to talk to people. You're going out there to do business. You're going out there to help people. You're going out there to close a sale, to put money in your pocket. So close them. If you don't even try to close them, guess what they're going to think? What if a buyer comes through our house? He didn't even try to close us. Is he or she going to try to close a buyer when they come to our house? Don't have them. Don't let them have these concerns. And if they ever object to you trying to close on them, here's the way you handle it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I certainly appreciate the fact that you think I'm trying to close on you and you might not be comfortable. I just want to let you know that if I ever have an idea that a buyer has interest in your home and I think they're considering offering, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you guys an offer, to generate an offer for you from a qualified buyer. So, I do apologize if, you think I was trying to be, a little too aggressive with, getting you guys to list your home with me, but just know that I'm going to do the same thing for you and go to bat for you anytime a buyer or a buyer's agent comes through. Is that fair? Do you guys understand? And again, they're not going to say, no, we don't understand. No, that's not fair. They're going to say, yeah, that's fair. We understand. But here's the easiest close. Here is the easiest, softest close anybody who's not even comfortable closing can do. Here's the question. After you go through the presentation, you get the feeling that you guys are vibing. They're liking you. Ask them this. Mr. or Mrs. Seller, when would be the best time to schedule photos for your home? Would Friday at 4 o'clock work, or would Saturday in the morning work better for you? Now, if they say to you, well, I think we just got to fix up a couple things before pictures, I say, okay, well, what in particular do you guys want to fix up? And they say this, and that. All right, I assume you probably get that done. Do you guys know when you'll get that done by? Yeah, we'll probably get it done by like next week on Monday. All right, so how about we do this? You want to schedule photos for like Tuesday afternoon? And then if for some reason you're not done by Tuesday afternoon, we can always reschedule them and back it up. Does that sound good? Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, now they just told you they're listing their home with you. They're not having you come out to take pictures just so they see what pictures of their homes look like, right? They just told you without telling you directly that they're going to list their home with you. So then what you're going to do is you're going to say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, when I come out for the pictures on Tuesday, ahead of time, let me take down your email address because I'm going to send you the listing paperwork. And then if you have any questions on that listing paperwork, just let me know. And I'm going to send it over electronically, so you can even sign it electronically as well. And if any questions pop up, just let me know. And I'm going to leave you. There's one thing I did bring for you to fill out right now. It's a seller's disclosure form. Take your time. Today's Thursday. I'm going to be back on Tuesday. Just fill it out to the best of your knowledge. It's just disclosing all the pertinent facts about your home. So again, go through with a soft, easy close. It's not complicated. It's not aggressive. It's not abrasive. It's not confrontational. Go through the soft, easy close by simply asking, Mr. Mrs. Seller, when would you like me to schedule the photos for your home? Give two options. Does tomorrow at 4 work, or would Saturday at 8 a.m. work better for you? Next here, number 5, you got to run this like a business. If you really think about it, when you become a real estate agent, you got to run the business like a business. And why? Because you're running your own small business. You're doing the marketing. You're dealing with the client relations. You're dealing with the lead generation. You're dealing with the customer service. You're dealing with the budgeting, with the expenses, with, how am I generating leads? How am I servicing clients? Keep track of everything. If you're spending money on something and it's working, if you have the money, spend maybe a little extra money. If you're doing something for free that's working great, well, then you're trading your time, right? Put more time into that. If that's going door to door and you're succeeding wildly from that, you're hosting open houses, you're getting buyers left and right from it. Whatever the case may be, again, if you're succeeding with something, keep doing it. Whether it be working with buyers, whether it be, again, keeping track of expenses, whatever it may be. Run this business like a business. Keep track of your expenses. And here's the other thing. I don't know how many people know this, but studies have shown the top 10% of realtors make over 90% of the commissions. Why? They run this business like a business and they treat this like a job. If you treat this, being a real estate agent, like a job, it will pay you more than almost any job you can get. I'm not kidding when I say this. I know realtors, real estate agents, who make over $1 million a year selling homes. Now, you guys might be saying, no way. No, I know them. And I don't know just one of them. I know multiple of them. And it's not like I just know them around the country. I know them in my direct market who make over $1 million a year selling homes. They make over $1 million in commissions. And you might be wondering to yourself, how does somebody do that? Because they treat this like a job. If you treat this like a job, you time block, you set your schedule, you know that every single day you're going to be prospecting for 4 hours. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where you do it. You're going to prospect for 4 hours, making cold calls, going door to door, doing whatever. You're going to do your follow-up between these times. You're going to do your showings and appointments between these times, so on and so forth. If you treat this like a job, you're going to make more than almost any job you can get. To give you guys, a personal example for myself, when I first got into the business full-time, again, I started doing all these things that I'm talking about. Now, I started full-time in July 2013, making cold calls, going door to door, doing things like that. That's not to get business overnight. That's kind of long-term business buildup. You're not going to if you're making a cold call, going door to door, you don't ring somebody's doorbell and say, hey, let's list tomorrow. So I didn't get my first listing until November. And that deal didn't close until December. So we're talking like 5 months before I got my first check. But by the end of my first 12 months in the business, I'd done about $4.9 million in sales, and I made about, tracking the numbers, about $110,000 in commissions. Say to yourself, okay, that's nice. The next year, I got up to about 8.9. The following year, I got up to about 11 million. The following year, about 16 million. And for simplicity's sake, essentially for every $4 million worth of home that you sell, that's around, on average, $100,000 in commissions. So if you can sell 10 million in homes, that's $250,000. How do you sell 10 million in homes? Well, if you're looking at, let's just say different price points. Let's give some examples. If you're selling $500,000 homes, that's 20 home sales a year. Might sound like a lot. Break it down per month. It's less than 2 homes per month. You're selling about a house and a half or so, house and a half a month. So again, that's one example. Maybe you're selling homes where the price point is 400,000. All right, so how do I get to 10 million in sales? Well, I'd have to sell what? That would wind up being 25 homes. So again, 25 divided by 12, about 2 home sales per month. Is that doable? I think it's achievable. I think it's doable. So again, how are you going to get there? You got to treat this like a job. Now, here's the thing also. Most people who start in this business start off part-time, and that's okay. You can start off part-time. But dedicate at least an hour or two a day to this business. And that hour or two should be dedicated to what we call revenue-generating activities. Again, prospecting, cold calling, going door to door, meeting with clients, going on listing presentations, listing appointments to list the seller's home, having buyer consultations, taking buyers out to see properties. If you first start off part-time and you could dedicate just 2 hours a day to prospecting, you're going to change your life, because that 2 hours a day turns into 10 hours a week, turns into 40 hours per month. Those 40 hours per month, I'm not kidding when I say this, that's going to be more than 95% of agents prospect for business in an entire year. Some maybe in an entire decade for some. So again, treat this like a business. If you treat this like a business, it's going to pay you more than almost every other type of business and any other type of job that you can get, for the most part. Number 6, the truth about open houses. As I said earlier, why do we have open houses realistically? To meet buyers. You don't really have open houses to sell houses. There's a study, and this is right on the National Association of Realtors website. Only 2% of open houses lead to a sale. So why do realtors have open houses? They have them to get buyers. They don't have them to sell the house. A lot of sellers think they have them to sell the house. It's really not the case. I embraced this. I was transparent about this. When I was first meeting with sellers for the first time, I'd sit down with the seller and I would ask myself, you know what? Every agent they're probably meeting with other than me has a lot more experience than me. Experience as far as years in the business. But I also know they're probably still doing the same things they did 20, 30 years ago to sell houses, like open houses. So I would simply ask this question to a seller. I'd say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, what's your opinion on open houses? They'd say, well, we think they're great. We think they sell a lot of houses. The last realtor that we met with told us that he sold, 50% of his homes come from open houses. And then I would say, well, that's a lot. I said, if you had to guess what percentage of open houses led to a sale, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, what would you guess? A lot of them say like 50%. I'd say, what if I told you it was 2%? I'd say, well, that can't be true. It can't be only 2%. That's really low. And you should print this out from the National Association of Realtors website. Print out the stats and data that shows that. And slide it over the table to them. Highlight it already. Wow, that's really low. Well, then why do realtors have open houses? And this is where you go right into it. Say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'll be completely honest with you. The reason why realtors have open houses is to find buyers. Oftentimes to find buyers for every home but your own. A lot of the buyers who come out to open houses, they're in the early stage of their search, they're not really ready to pull the trigger yet. A lot of them don't have realtors yet. So what realtors view this is an opportunity to really prospect and acquire clients and have future business build up, not really to sell your house in particular. So what a lot of realtors will do, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, they'll intentionally tell you that your home is worth more than it really is. The reason they'll do that is to have a bunch of open houses. And then at these open houses, they meet 2, 3, 4, 5 buyers. Your house sticks on the market for 6 months. Every couple months, the realtor's going to ask you to lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. Your house goes lower and lower and lower and lower. And as you reduce, the buyers in the market say they must be desperate. They must be desperate to sell this house. There's blood in the water, and now they think they can really lowball you. But this whole time, this agent has gotten 2, 3, 4, 5 sales. Maybe they got just 1 sale, 2 sales. Let's say 2 sales from hosting open houses over the course of 6 months. They sold 2 homes from hosting open houses. None of them were your home, but guess what? They sold 2 houses because of your house. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you like your house to serve as a prospecting source for another realtor, or would you like somebody who wants to sell your house? And again, what you've done now, and you should never, ever, 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 ever mention the name or the firm of another broker who you're competing with. What you've done now is you've sowed some seeds of doubt into their mind by them now thinking, what else did that realtor lie to us about? Because they told us 50%, but this realtor just showed us something from the National Association of Realtors website that said only 2%. What else did they lie to us about? And also, when you're a new agent starting off, we is going to be your favorite word to use. Why? Because if somebody asks you, what's your experience? You have no experience selling houses, but your firm does. So we sold this house around the corner. We sold that house around the corner. We sold these houses. Here's the best way to deal with it. When you first sit down with them, before going over the presentation of what you're going to do to sell the home, say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before we start, I just want to go over some homes that we recently just sold, in the surrounding area, just to give you an idea of, how we sold them and how we went about doing it, and show them homes within like a 5-mile radius. We sold this house, had it listed at 500, went for 525. in less than a week. We had multiple bids on it, and ultimately we were able to get our client $25,000 above asking price. Here's how we did it. Again, explain to them how did you handle the bidding war. For instance, we started showings on Wednesday. We told everybody that we'd be going through the whole, first weekend because we wanted to give everybody a fair shot at the property. Once we gathered up that we had 4 offers coming in, we told all of the agents, hey, please submit your final and best offer by Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And there's 3 ways to have your offer stand out. Price and terms being number 1. Number 2, put some language in there about the appraisal, which says if the appraisal comes out lower than the sales price, you're willing to make up that gap in an additional cash down payment. And number 3, put some language in there about the home inspection. As an example, if the home inspection items come out less than $25,000 for a single, not $25,000, excuse me, $2,500 for a single item, we're not going to seek those home inspection items. So not only did we get our client above asking price, we got them great terms on it too. And now you're showing your know-how. And come off with it, enthusiasm, confidence, right? Bravado. You want to, make sure that people like, wow, this person's confident. Whether you're a guy or a girl, again, come through with confidence, come through with energy. That radiates with people. So again, make sure you bring energy to the table. And also something I've always kind of said, number 7 here, screw it, just do it. What I mean by that, when I say screw it, just do it, is try a whole bunch of different stuff. If it works, stick with it. If it doesn't, scrap it. Stick with what works, scrap what doesn't work. So if something's working and you're getting a lot of clients from it, keep doing it. But I'll tell you, when I first started off in the business, when I started going door to door, I'd wear a full-blown suit, tie, bring a briefcase with me. I'd ring somebody's doorbell, and they'd look out the window. No, we're not interested. It's like, I didn't even say anything. For all you know, I have a briefcase full of money I want to give you. No, we're not interested. Hold on, but I need to say something. Nobody, for the most part, people just weren't even answering the door. They had that sales wall up, right? Now, when I go door to door, I dress pretty casual. I'll wear like jeans and like a collared shirt, or if it's summertime, I'll wear like khaki shorts and a collared shirt and like sandals. Again, nothing crazy, and I don't bring anything with me. I just keep my pocket full of business cards. When I ring the doorbell, somebody answers the door, and they say, can we help you? I used to try to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kyle, Kovats XYZ Realty. How's it going today? Nice to meet you. And try to start small talk. No, don't do it. Go right into it. They don't want to waste it. At least for me, I'm in New Jersey. So everybody's like, come on, let's go get to the point. So if you're watching this in another state, it might be different culturally, but in New Jersey, it's like, come on, get to the point. You're wasting our time. So get right to the point. Don't even say, introduce yourself. Here's what I would say to answer the door. By any chance, you know anybody looking to sell their home in this neighborhood? You say, well, why do you ask? Well, the reason I ask is because, and again, have a reason ready. Do you have a buyer lined up? Do you have buyers who are looking at your company's website? Can you look at the Zillow search results and see that there's been a big upswing in home searches in this area? So maybe it's people looking at our website. I'll say right now we have a lot of, clients looking at our website for homes in this town. And I don't know if you're familiar, but not a lot of houses have been coming on the market. Just wanted to see if you might know anybody who'd be interested. I used to ask them directly. I asked them directly over the phone. In person, though, I ask in that roundabout way. And sometimes they say back to, you know what, we're actually interested, but we're not going to be selling for like 2 months. Oh, okay. Well, do you guys, know what you're going to be, where you're going and stuff like that? And here's the number 1 question you should ask. Have you guys begun the process of interviewing realtors for the job of selling your home? No, we haven't really started that process yet. I'd say it's a woman. I would say, well, listen, well, I don't know the last name, right? So if it was on the phone, I'd say Mrs. Smith. Let's just say, I would say, as an example, I would say, well, listen, when you guys do get into that process, I'd certainly love to interview for the job of getting your home sold for you. Are you familiar with the techniques that, we use to sell homes in this area? They're always going to say, no, we're not. And then you'd say, okay, well, listen, obviously, I don't know what you're looking to get for your house, but I can certainly give you a free estimate of value if you would like. And then, we could further explore, perhaps, working together and, having me bring buyers, qualified buyers directly your way. Does that, how's that sound? Does that sound fair? They always say that sounds fair. I'd say, okay, when would be the best time to follow up with you? Would, following up in a month be okay? Or, a couple of weeks? When would be the best time to follow up with you? Probably in like a month. Okay, can I take down your number? And let me give you a business card. And again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to close them. You're trying to set that appointment. You're trying to let them know that you're on top of them. When you go back to your office, go back to your house, handwritten letter, send it to them. Handwritten letter a week later, send it to them. Handwritten letter a week later, send it to them. If they're going to sell in 2 months, stay on top of them. Stay on top of them. If they're going to be selling in 2 years, maybe a handwritten letter once every 2 months, once every month. Again, but if they're saying they're going to sell in 2 months, stay on top of them. Maybe a handwritten letter per week would be a good idea. And again, certainly following up, getting the phone number too. Next year, number 8, develop and maintain relationships. What do we mean by this? The top realtors in this business, over 80% of all of their business is through referrals. What's a referral? I worked with Joe. I did a good job. Joe referred me to his friend Mike. I did a good job for Mike too. Now they're both referring me people. Now the people they refer me to, I do a good job for. Now they're all referring me people. When you work with somebody, don't do what we call churn and burn. Develop the relationship. Stay in touch with them. Find out what they're interested in. Again, around the holidays, reach out to them. For instance, you could drop a bottle of wine off, drop a apple pie off, something like that. Stay in front of them. Because think about it this way. You got to where you are because of those people. You would not be where you are in this business unless you had those clients. Thank them. Show appreciation to them. And again, if you did a good job for them, they're going to reward you back. You don't need to call them every day and say, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm that realtor you worked with. As a reminder, I'm a real estate agent. You know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the next 30, 60, 90 days? If so, please call me immediately. No. Again, be genuine. Be a human being. So if your client likes the Yankees, screw around with them with the fact that the Yankees cannot make the World Series for the life of them. I say this as a Yankees fan. If your client's a Jets fan, like myself, unfortunately, joke around with them that we might not ever win a game ever again until we get Trevor Lawrence, and then we, go to the Super Bowl 10 years in a row. That's mark my words, hopefully. And again, just be genuine, be honest with these people. So be a human. That's it. Just be a normal person. Develop the relationship, maintain the relationship. And again, if they know somebody who's going to be buying or selling real estate, they're going to know to refer you. So again, develop and maintain relationships. Number 9, what are some questions to ask buyers? When you sit down at that buyer consultation, you can go on Google right now and just type in questions to ask buyers as a real estate agent. It'll give you like a list of 20 questions. But the 2 most important questions, before we start showing somebody a house, are you already working with a realtor? You'd be surprised how many people just have no clue on how realtors are paid. And, you might show somebody houses on a Saturday and Sunday, and on Sunday ask them, hey, any houses we saw you were interested enough in to put an offer in on? And they say to you, no, but, maybe. I just got to talk to my realtor first, and then I'll let you know. Hold on. You got to talk to your realtor first? What do you mean? Yeah, we got to talk to our realtor first. He was just on vacation this week. We needed somebody to show us houses. What? Excuse me? Right? So I just wasted my whole weekend. I only get paid to sell houses. I don't get paid to open doors. So ask them, number 1, are you working with a realtor? And number 2, have been pre-approved. If they haven't been pre-approved by a lender yet, put them in touch with the lender. When you put them in touch with the lender is then going to do a full-blown pre-approval and figure out exactly what they're qualified for. Again, because you might have somebody who comes up to you and says, I'm looking for $1 million homes. You get all excited. Start showing these $1 million homes for a month, 2 months, 3 months. After 3 months, they're ready to go forward. They're ready to put something on the, put an offer in. But along with that offer, they need a pre-approval. So when it comes time to get the pre-approval, they get pre-approved, and they get pre-approved for a $400,000 purchase price. And you're like, hold on a second. You got champagne taste, but you got beer money, and you never told me this? I just wasted 3 months of my time doing nothing, accomplishing nothing, showing you houses that I'm not going to get paid on, time I'm never going to get back again, time I'm not getting paid for. Mitigate that up front. Again, simply what you do is just tell them, hey, let's get you pre-approved up front. Let me put you in touch with my go-to mortgage lender. They'll get you pre-approved. We'll know exactly what you can afford, because you might think that you can afford the monthly payments of $1 million home, but it matters what the bank cares about. So again, those are a couple questions to ask them. And number 10, last but not least, set expectations for your clients. Lay out scenarios for your clients. And when I say set expectations, let's start with buyers. With buyers, set expectations and explain to them what the process looks like to buy a home. Now in New Jersey, this process is first, number 1, getting pre-approved. So again, the first thing for you to do, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is get pre-approved. Number 2, we're going to go through a buyer consultation, figure out exactly what you're looking for. Number 3, after we find a house, we're going to then, negotiate the deal. And eventually we're going to have that offer accepted. In New Jersey, we're one of the only states that has attorney review. We're going to go into attorney review. And the attorneys will then review the contract, and then they'll, stamp it, rubber stamp it, and approve it, and then we're good to go. Then we go into the home inspection. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, in the home inspection, there's something you got to know. Unless I'm selling you a brand new home, you're not buying a brand new home. So there's going to be things that pop up in a home inspection. Now, the thing is, in a home inspection, your home inspector is going to give you, on average, a 70 to 75 page report, talking about everything and anything that could possibly be wrong with the house. It's not fair game to ask on all of these. There's a reason why the seller gives the seller's disclosure up front, to disclose different conditions of the home. So if the seller tells us up front their roof is 22 years old, their heating system is 20 years old, their cooling system is 15 years old. If the inspector comes in and says these things are old and towards the end of life expectancy, they should be replaced in the next 3 to 5 years, we can't ask for a credit off the purchase price for those things. That's something that we're going to take into consideration with our offer, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. We're going to go over the seller's disclosure up front so we know what to consider along with our offer. And we're going to convey that in our offer and explain to them, listen, the reason we offer this number is because of these things in the seller's disclosure. Now, what are things that are fair game to ask for in a home inspection? Structural concerns, environmental hazards, which is like, leaking underground oil tanks, termites, mold, water damage, code violations. Like, these things are fair game to ask for. You don't really need to explain that to a seller, like, hey, there was a code violation, structural concern, environmental hazard, termites, mold, things like that. It's reasonable to ask for those things. What's not reasonable to ask for is they told you the roof was old, your inspector said it was old, and then you asked for a new roof. That's not reasonable. Again, things like that. What's also not reasonable is like if there's something loose, like there's a loose railing that just needs reinforcement through like screwing screws in harder. Okay, you can ask for that, but it's not worth really asking for because it's something so light and so trivial. And again, set that expectation because some first-time home buyers, especially, they go into a home inspection who have not been prepped on this, and they're like, okay, everything that pops up we can ask for. No, it doesn't work that way. And the deal's going to fall through. And don't get, kind of emotional when the seller says, I'm not doing all that. Because at the end of the day, again, look, be reasonable. With sellers, lay out the different scenarios. Explain to them, listen, I'm going to sell your house 3 separate times. I'm going to sell it to buyers, brokers, and the bank. So if we don't price your house in line with comps, your house might be worth, let's say, $600. But if we price it at, let's say, $650, if we find one person willing to bid $650, the bank's going to come in, and the bank's then going to appraise it at $600. And now the buyer reserves the right to ask you to lower the price to $600. There's nothing that we can do about that. So if that were to occur, I just want to, kind of forewarn you about that up front. Also, odds of us getting an offer are probably pretty slim. So where should we start? We should start off by listing at market value from the start because then maybe we get 3, 4, 5, 6 offers. We get a bidding war to break out. And once that bidding war breaks out and we have those 3, 4, 5, 6 offers, then we might be able to get you, let's say, closer to that 650, maybe 630. And now we have the leverage in the transaction. So you might be wondering, well, isn't the appraisal still going to come out at 600? Yeah. But now, by negotiating in a bidding war, I've told the buyer 3 ways to have your offer stand out. Price and terms, appraisal language that we talked about, right? Are you willing to make up the difference in cash in the case that the appraisal comes out lower than the sales price? And home inspection items. Again, are you going to try to hammer us on every home inspection item? Or are you just going to come after us for things that total less than, let's say, $2,500 for a single item? What exactly are you going to come after us for? So again, these are all different things that you can kind of set expectations on, and also set expectations for the seller at the home inspection. Say, listen, we're going to disclose everything that we can up front. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I would highly advise you actually having a full-blown home inspection done by a licensed home inspector before you put your house on the market. Why? So that rather than just giving a seller's disclosure form to a buyer, we give them a full-blown home inspection report. So they can look at a full-blown home inspection report, and we tell them, listen, we have a home inspection report for you, and the reason we have this done for you is for the purpose of you taking all of this into consideration with your offer. Because what we don't want is we don't want to go under contract, go into a home inspection, you try to take $10,000 off the price after the home inspection. We don't want that. We want a smooth, easy, clean transaction. So we're being fully transparent up front. I hope you can appreciate that, and I hope that you can take this into consideration with your offer. So set the expectations. Setting expectations is so critical in the transaction and also with your relationship with your client. Again, let your client know, hey, listen, any listing that pops up that you like, send to me. I'll get all the details on it for you. Hey, anything that pops up here, you see a listing, even if for sale by owner, let me know about it. I come across anything, I'm going to let you know about that. Let's operate in a mutually workable relationship here. So those are the 10 main things. There's more, but those are like 10 main things I do think that new real estate agents should know when first getting into the business. I hope this video has proven helpful. I hope this video will help you kind of accelerate your learning curve. Because as a new agent, when you guys get into the business, there is a learning curve. There's going to be things that pop up that you have no idea what the answer is, and that's okay. To this day, I've been in this business and I've sold a lot of homes. There's still things that pop up sometimes that I don't have the answer to, and that's okay. It's always okay to not have the answer. Just be transparent, be honest. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm not exactly sure. Let me just check with a couple people and get back to you on that. Is that okay? They're not going to say, no, that's not okay. They're going to say that's okay, right? So, again, I hope this video has proven helpful. And if you guys have any questions, certainly feel free to comment below. And again, my name's Kyle Kovats from Kovats Real Estate School. We're based in New Jersey. We serve the entire state. So if you ever know anybody looking to get their New Jersey real estate license, certainly reach out to us. You can visit our website, which is kovatsschool.com, or you can call our office, which is 201-843-7277. Thank you guys. I appreciate it, and take care.